Race number 5, we've had a couple of runners come out totalling 16 cents worth of deductions, but still incredibly open. Does look like being $5 the field, and we'll have to monitor the late money. Wapanda heads the way at $5, a first starter from the Nick Ryan stable. There's been support for number 7 Piastri, who's been as much as 19 into 5, back to $5.50 with those deductions applied, and Regal Zeus $7 into $6.50 on race day. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on screen or visit the website.
This mounting yard is brought to you by Vobis Sires Boost. To find out more, visit racingvictoria.com.au.
Sale race 5 is the first on the flat this afternoon. It's a maiden over 1,108 metres for the 2-year-old gallopers. Horse number 1 is Bold Julius, resuming this afternoon, Hutch.
That it is, and I'll say this, had the one run in the only prep, and obviously it was a decent little race as well. Started $21, but look, not going to read too much into that. Has come back, run second in a recent jump out. I thought went pretty well. So Bold Julius, this colt by Brazen Bow, I thought he could run a bit of a race at a reasonable price.
Il Cubo is horse number 2 on debut for Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr., a $150,000 yearling, crossover noseband and a tongue tie both on for the debut.
Like the way that this colt by Rubik went. He wasn't really pressured in his last couple of jump outs, but he's travelled well, he's cruised up in amongst them, and look, there's a few nice younger horses in this race, and he's certainly one of them.
3 and 4 are both being saved for another day. Johnny Maloney unveils the 5 Nations State, the barrier blanket in use for the first time.
Yeah, I only found one jump out, and I thought it was only just average. Not a lot was asked, so it just depends how much he's improved from that. But suffice to say, others have gone better, and the market is reflecting that.
Horse number 6 is out. Horse number 7, Piastri, undoubtedly named after Oscar Piastri in the Formula 1 representing Victoria. Also, Kieran Murray and David Eustace trained, $200,000 yearling.
Yeah, I thought, look, and obviously our horse has gone pretty well. I thought the recent trial worked to the line well. I think he's a colt by Schwarz who's going to probably get over a bit of ground, and he's shown enough ability, I would have thought, to go pretty close. So, yeah, he's one to respect. 8,
Regal Zeus, and when you take into consideration the start of the last race, it was a pretty good performance.
Well, yeah, he just blew the start, and I thought he ran really well, actually, because he tacked on, but the sort of bird had flown, and he jumped well in his morning work or jump outs leading into that. So, in fact, he led in the most recent one leading into that. So I think it might have just been a one-off. That's the way I'm playing it. I think he can win.
The 9's out. 10 is Wirrapunda. Nick Ryan unveiling the $150,000 purchase. Is this a reference to the West Coast star from the mid-2000s, do you reckon, Hutch?
Well, it could be. Wirrapunda, though. Not sure.
Have to be, wouldn't it?
Could be. Well, they're good judges if they are.
They are.
He was an absolute ripper, wasn't he? Look, it was a quiet trial recently at Flemington. I think they knew what they had. It seemed like pretty good work, and obviously Nick Ryan teaming up Billy Egan, and Billy is obviously, look, he's a fantastic rider, but his record at sales, one to note as well. He usually has a lot of success at the track.
Godolphin unveil the 11 Hypothermia for a second-up performance, was slowly away and kept wide last start at Moe on debut.
It was a grinding sort of run. I thought just for the benefit of that experience, maybe he wanted to fill in the minors. But look, started 440 there. Material Dreams won the race. It came out and won its next start, so not the worst.
Similar sort of grinding performance when we speak about the 12 Mount Dove, Matty Laurie.
Yes, I think that's a fair call too. Pretty good versus the tempo. In that race, they didn't go quick and they sprinted, so it was probably a better run than it looks at first glance in terms of beaten margin and finishing position, 6th of 9 behind Antics. But another one, like, there's definitely a maiden in the not-too-distant future for that one.
I liked the way 13, Proof of Purchase for Phil Stokes, hit the line in a Pakenham jump out.
She didn't have much pressure, did she, in Leighton? She seemed to cruise the line. He educates him so well, Philip, and does a great job. It was hard to know what was under the bonnet. The market's always going to be quite telling late. I must admit, I thought there'd be a little bit more money around. I thought she trialled better than a $14 chance, but that's also indicative of, I think, the depth of the race.
The 14 is Queen Beera, the second of the Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. runners. 4th in a Cranbourne jump out. Interestingly, the winner of that jump out, Outback Miss, bolted in at Bendigo on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought once again there's others, even though she won and finished 4th in another, I thought there were others that had jumped out better, but the market's really liking her. She's firmed in from her opening quite considerably, but I thought the stable might have her measure.
You've had a lot of time to assess your numbers for the first of the flat races this afternoon. Hutch, how are you lining them up?
I've just been keeping an eye on Quinny and making sure that, he's bringing his A game, which he is, as usual.
You do have to control him, though, don't you? Because he can go a bit rogue.
Yeah, he can. That's his modus operandi. But, look, Regal Zeus on top for me. I just think race fitness experience, hoping he can jump on terms. Yep. I'm hoping for a much better map today. Il Cubo, we're Panda and Bold Julius. Look, it doesn't end there. This is a tough race, but I think there'll be a couple of nice ones to come out of it.
If you can find the winner, we're getting a nice price about it too. Il Cubo on top for TB, ahead of We're Panda. Regal Zeus in for third, and Queen Beera rounding out Terry Bailey's numbers for the first flat race this afternoon. Quinny, wide open.
Yeah, and Jason Richardson, he gets upset by plenty of things I say and do, but one of my favourite sayings that he really hates is when I say, if you find the winner, the value will take care of itself. But it is perfectly applied to this race. As you can see on screen, it's $5 the field. Piastri has been the best backed. Il Cubo now a $5.50 second leap with Wirapunda. There has been a little bit of late money for the toppy, Bold Julius. Got out to 15, back into 12. Very wide open and a good opportunity to prick the promo. Punch in the code SALE at sale today. And if you run second, third or fourth, get up to $50 in bonus cash. That's all races at sale today. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on screen or visit the website.
Johnny McArdle was a trainer, or one of a very small number of trainers who got to have a look at the Caulfield course proper in the inner track there yesterday. He saddles up Regal Zeus. He's catching up with Benny now.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Tim. And you do mention that. Let's start there, John. Tim just saying you had a look at the Caulfield track yesterday. What did you make of the progression out there?
Yeah, very good. The track, as Jamie said in his interview afterwards, it was like carpet. They've got it in very, very good order. Had a walk on the new track, and I worked at Caulfield for a long time. I was always a little bit worried it was too tight. It's a tight track, but they've got it cambered well, and it looks as though it'll race well. But the course proper was in great order yesterday, so yeah, really happy with it. On
to matters at hand here, Regal Zeus, gelding by Zeus Star, back for the second run this preparation. He probably blunted himself at the start a little bit first up.
Well, if you've seen the head-on that the steward sent me, he all but fell. How he stayed on his feet, I don't know, and it's hard enough for an older horse to miss a kick by 6 or 7 and get close to him. So for him to get as close as he did was a good effort. He's a horse that I think will make a nice 3-year-old. He does have a few little tricks, and he's still got to mature up a bit, but hopefully he begins properly today and can settle a bit closer to them. And it's impossible to line up the form. So we'll see how he goes.
It's not always simple mathematics, but he only got beat a bit over 2 lengths last start, and as you say, gave them a big head start. So if he steps cleanly today, do you expect him to be in the thick of things? Yeah, look, he's led in trials before. I wouldn't expect him to be leading, but hopefully he can sit in the sort of first 4 or 5 and make life a bit easier for himself. Looking ahead to Saturday, El Rocco over the 1,600 metres, but you've drawn wide there in 16. Yeah, we'll wait and see what if the rain hits Sandown. He's obviously a very good wet tracker. And if a few came out, we might go around, but that decision will be made on Saturday morning. He was one of the horses that galloped at Caulfield yesterday, and Jamie was really happy with him. So if he goes there, it'll be on a wet track, and he'd be an each-way chance on a good run last start on probably a track that was too firm for him. We're just talking off here as well. A good result with Tycoon Hummer at the broodmare sales recently. Nice to walk away from the sales with a bit of cash in your back pocket. Yeah, it's nice that Jerry owes me money for a change. So, all of our owners were very excited, and, it's been a good family to us. We sold Hummer for $1 million and her for $975. So, we've got a few nice fillies there that if anyone wants to speak to Brent, can hopefully do the same in a couple of years' time. Well, fingers crossed. The check mightn't be that big, but a nice little check here with Regal Zeus would be nice. Good luck, John. Cheers, thank you.
Does a terrific job, Johnny McArdle, doesn't he? You could listen to him all day. He'd be the type of bloke that if you were going to have a dinner with racing personnel, he'd be on the table, wouldn't he?
Great fella, great character. Yep, he's got some good stories, and he's does a good job with his stock, doesn't he, Johnny? And probably needs that next headline horse. He's had a few really good juveniles, hasn't he? And like I say, he does a really good job. But this is an interesting race, Tim. There's some nice stock going around in it. They've paid a pretty penny for a few of them, and we'll have to wait and see who comes out on top. But I think Johnny McArdle's got about as good a chance as just about anything.
Nicholas, just very quickly, do we have a market mover?
Overall, the best backed runner and market mover is the 7 Piastri, but there's been late support for the 10 Wirapunda $5.50 into $4.60.
That horse, of course, a full brother to Express Pass, who Nick Ryan knows very well. horses are almost complete in terms of the loading process for race 5 at Sale. It is the first of the races on the flat this afternoon. TV's done a marvellous job calling all of the jumps racing. Here he is for race number 5.
And Wapanda looks the best back runner here for Nick Ryan. He gave a good push for Mahamadeus yesterday, and he gave a nice little push for this one, drawn the inside gate. But this is tough. Piastri about to move in. Nation State, one of the roughies. In fact, he'll go the outsider. You take him out of the equation, anything could win. It's about $4.80 the favourite, $14 the second outsider. Just about set to run. Waiting on Piastri to move forward. Proof of purchase moving around, attended in. Wapanda drawn the inside gate, goes off the fave in a very, very open race. Bull Julius stood well with El Kubo. All set. Ready from the chute. They're off. Wapanda jumped away pretty well, but doesn't have any speed off the inside. Regal Zeus won the break. Queen Bera and El Kubo going fast, and Bull Julius in the red colours wide out. They're being followed by Proof of Purchase, and Wapanda going up into that lead group on the fence, but getting its head up. They're followed by, next of all, is Nation State, then Mount Dove. Hypothermia going back to the tail with Piastri. With the inside, El Kubo drove up on the fence to take the lead away from Regal Zeus. 600 out from Queen Bera. Wapanda still over racing with the blinkers on. Outside of it, Proof of Purchase, Bull Julius. Nation State a long way back in the field. Queen Bera starting to try and make up ground as they come to the bend. 3 out as they come around the corner. It's going up outside Regal Zeus, and Queen Bera's now moved up to hit the lead from Regal Zeus and El Kubo. Wapanda back to the fence, then came running on as Nation State, Proof of Purchase, and Piastri's coming down the outside, but it's Regal Zeus going to the front again with El Kubo. Regal Zeus just in front of El Kubo, nothing from the back. Regal Zeus is in front. El Kubo's fighting back, but Regal Zeus a bit too good. 1.5, 3/4 El Kubo. Nation State third from Queen Bera. Proof of Purchase, Piastri, Bull Julius. They're followed by Wapanda. Did a lot wrong. Mount Dove and Hypothermia last in. Regal Zeus, the winner of the race. On pace runners fighting it out. The horse that was 3 deep, Queen Bera, looming, but couldn't sustain the run. And Regal Zeus takes the front for Johnny McCardle. After not much joy last time out, Jamie Mott in the saddle, and Regal Zeus by Zoo Star out of Quite Kitten, US bred dam there, being out of Kitten's Joy for Regal Bloodstock and friends. Plenty of them, has come away for a solid victory. Second, El Kubo, who's done a good job on debut, fighting back hard for Price Kent Jr. and Bo Mertens. Nation State's got into third, well beaten, and Queen Bera's run fourth. She loomed up and almost hit the lead turning, and then Proof of Purchase and a clump behind those. Wapanda, the one they backed, jumped fairly, given time to settle, but with the shades on, they went the shades after the jump out at Werribee to Flemington, and she didn't really relax at all with those shades on. 8, 2, 5, 14. 1:07.08. That's well outside the record, as you would expect, by about 4.5 seconds, maybe a bit more. And the track, of course, downgraded. No big surprise to a soft 7 after the jumps racing had concluded. So Regal Zeus, without much joy first up, obviously thought enough of to go up against the instructor in what was a very strong 2-year-old preview there at Sandown. A length by 1 3/4. Let's go back and have a chat with the winning trainer.
Yeah, always better to catch up after the race, John, and particularly with some of the improvement you think this guy might have.
Yeah, look, he still did a bit wrong. Jamie was trying not to lead. And just sort of when he asked him to go, he wandered around a bit. I think he'll be a better horse when he's physically matured as a 3-year-old, and probably when he gets a set of blinkers on. But he's a nice horse. He's always shown us a bit at home. He was still a colt when he ran in the Blue Diamond preview, and he did everything wrong, and then, you know, it was well documented how he fell on his head last start. So it was good to come here today and get that out of the way. So, yeah, I think he's a nice horse going forward for the owners.
Tell us about his backstory. Those owners, of course, he carries the Regal Bloodstock colours, 150,000 from the Easter sale as son of Zeus Star.
Yeah, he was an immature horse at the sales, probably fell through the cracks a bit. Lenny Russo from Bluegrass Bloodstock, and and Mark from Regal Bloodstock sort of sourced him, and I knew the horse quite well. I'd seen him a few times before the sale, so we bought him, and as I said, he's always shown us a bit, so it was good for him to come here and do things the right way. And Mark's actually got his half-sister by Written Tycoon that we bought at the Gold Coast this year, so anyone that wants to see a horse that is very similar to him, ring Mark from Regal Bloodstock.
How do you go about plotting a pass for this guy now? He's got the win out of the way, coming towards the end of his 2-year-old season. What sort of aspirations have you got for him? Can he go to something in town now?
Oh, you would think so. He's still a very light and immature horse, so we'll just see how he pulls up, and whether we get one more out of him and then give him a little break and see if there's something at the back end of the spring for him. We'll make that decision once we get him home and cool him down.
Well, John, you've got a nice horse to play with. Well done.
Thank you.
There we go. John McArdle, the winning trainer with Regal Zeus. Jamie Mott, the winning jockey. Of course, the first of our flat races today. We had that track downgrade as well, so we'll get Jamie's thoughts on the track. He's got William Kepton Neptune coming up later, but he started his afternoon on a winning note with a horse who, things didn't pan out quite as Jamie would have liked last time at Sale. Things went much better today. He was able to bound up on the pace and make his own luck. John predicting a good future, and well done to the Regal Bloodstock team. They've got a nice son of Zeus Star, and speaking of a nice combination of Jamie Mott and John McArdle. They've teamed up to plenty of success over many years, and they gel well together, and they've got another win under their belt with a horse who looks nice and progressive moving forward. And Jamie comes over to have a chat, and, he stepped a bit better today and made things a bit easier for himself.
He did, yeah. He probably would have won the other day if he had a step properly like today. Today's Vobus and Vobus Gold, so it's good for the owners to reap some of the rewards. You've
obviously always had a bit of an association with him, being part of John's system and having ridden him in his 2 race starts. Have you always liked him a bit?
I have always liked him. He's taken a little bit of time to learn what it's all about, and as I said the other day, if he hadn't stumbled, he probably comes here and wins, and he was coming off the back of a nice trial, so I expected him to run really good last start, which he did. Unfortunately, he slipped. Today he got it all right, and he won really well.
John was saying he was probably seeing you out there, probably not wanting to lead, but you just had the speed and jumped well enough. How did it pan out for you?
Yeah, look, he's a horse that naturally begins really good, so I knew I'd be on speed somewhere. I just didn't know whether they'd be in front or outside the leader. And look, once he got there, he relaxed really good. I was able to let Bo kick up my inside and just give it something to track into the straight, and he won really well.
Quickly, track had a downgrade here ahead of the first of the flat races. How's it feel?
You can see definitely all the jump sources have been over it, but it feels pretty good underfoot, so no more rain, I don't think, for the day, so it should stay as it is.
Perfect start to the afternoon. Well done.
Thanks, Ben.
Well, Hutch, you get a great opportunity to tip the card here, only having to tip 5 of them, and that is a perfect start for the Clint Hutchison followers. Regal Zeus got the start right, and that was the end of the story.
Yeah, look, I think he jumped better than anything else, and then I thought one of the best parts about his race was the fact what Jamie just said there. He relaxed he came back underneath him. I thought Cubo was very good. He didn't quite handle a turn. He's still learning his craft. It was just his first go at the races. He's jumped, put himself in the race, challenged one early and stuck to his guns nicely. As I said prior to the race, there's some nice horses here. There's going to be a few that really improve. I'm not sure if the inside's great, so some of those on those inside few lanes maybe a little bit of a forgive as well. I thought Johnny Maloney's galloper was Nation State. I mean, given that he'd had a pretty light prep sort of leading in, looking at the only one jumper, it wasn't a bad effort from that horse either. But well done to Johnny McArdle. He deserved that one, and Regal Zeus did as well.
Hutchie's on the board, 1 from 1 on the flat at Sale. Back to Gawler on the other side of this.